Tonight, container of copper still missing from Rena. Living with chronic epilepsy and Hamilton talent, two gents. Kia ora and good evening. Welcome to Central News on TV Central for Monday, the 27th of April. I'm Amanda Harper. In today's news, a container load of copper on board the Rena when the container ship struck the Astrolabe Reef in 2011 remains missing. The 20-foot container of copper held 21 tonnes of scrap consisting of chopped and stripped household electrical wiring extracted during the Christchurch earthquake recovery. It was carried inside 1-tonne bulk bags. A report published this week on the Rena project page suggests the most likely scenario is that the container was broken open while still stowed at the bottom of the hold after the ship broke in two. One or more of the 1-tonne bulk bags was torn open at the time, releasing part or all of the copper cargo into the ship's holds. Some copper was found outside the hull on the reef. The report says the remaining copper is either buried below the debris in Hold 6 or is lying underneath the stern section of the Rena, or both, either within the remains of its container or as a loose discharge. The amount of copper released cannot be accurately determined from the amounts located, observed and recovered to date. Bay of Plenty Regional Council was implementing control measures around part of the Kopiopio Canal after recent laboratory data indicated there were elevated dioxins in Stopbank surface soils. As part of preparations for the canal remediation project scheduled to commence later this year, Council has contracted consultants to undertake sampling and analysis of soils on land surrounding the canal. These investigations have revealed surface soils along the southern side of the canal between State Highway 30 and Kepa Road are elevated above National Environmental Standards soil contaminant standards for rural residential land use. Kopiopio Canal Remediation Project Manager Brendan Love says due to the existing fencing in the area and the current adjourning land uses, access to the impacted area is limited and is highly unlikely that locals have had any significant exposure to contaminants. Although the health risks from contact with the Gateway Southside Stopbank surface soils are very low, the Regional Council is taking the matter seriously and implementing precautionary measures to further limit access to the identified areas. Hamilton-based company Quantec Ltd has successfully launched its world-first anti-acne cream to hundreds of Mexican dermatologists in Mexico City this month. Quantec's product, a clinically proven anti-acne cream derived from cow's milk called Epiology, was first launched into the New Zealand pharmacies in May last year. Quantec founder and managing director Dr. Rod Claycomb said it was the product a success nationally that spurred Quantec to swiftly take this product global. He say Epiology sales in New Zealand exceeded their expectations this past year, so at the end of last year they partnered with a Mexican distribution partner in a bid to gain market share in Mexico. At the Mexican Academy of Dermatology Congress in Mexico City, Dr. Claycomb presented alongside Mexican dermatologist Dr. Ingrid Karen Lopez, who recently facilitated clinical experience trials with Epiology. Dr. Claycomb anticipates that Mexico will be a good entry point for the remainder of the Central American markets and the rest of Latin America over time. In our last story, I would like to take this moment to repeat the announcement from Friday night that TV Central will cease broadcasting at midnight, April the 30th, due to ongoing challenges in raising sufficient local commercial funding. Trustee and CEO Daryl Anderson says viewer support for Waikato and Bay of Plenty's regional community TV channel, which began in 2002, has been fantastic. But technology and viewing habits are continually changing for many sectors of the community. There is no doubt that an important continued need exists for the production and distribution of local content to ensure we build and support our local identity. He says there has been an expression of interest for some continued local production. All staff have been offered support in finding future work opportunities within the community. Management and staff are proud to have provided this service over the years and take this opportunity to thank all supporters, viewers and various funders in the community that have been a part of this journey. Coming up in the show, living with chronic epilepsy. Welcome back to Central News. 5-year-old identical twins both living with chronic epilepsy. Rachel Sutton finds out more.
Imogen, the elder of the twins, started showing symptoms late 2011, and after a full day of seizing in hospital, she was diagnosed on December the 7th, 2011, which made her 2 years, 5 months. Addison then showed similar symptoms not long later, had her first tonic-clonic seizure on February the 13th, and we had a piggyback appointment with a neurologist in April where she too was diagnosed.
Cara, can you tell me, how often do the girls have seizures?
That would be dependent on the environment around them. I can't give a clear answer on that because it depends on how much stress their body endures. The tonic-clonic seizure would be brought on due to generally overtired. So if we've had a really big day and we haven't had a good wind-down period, they'd be in bed, their bodies are settling, but their minds are still very overactive, and that's when we get what we call our brain confusion, and the girls will have a tonic-clonic seizure. So it completely depends on a lot of outside elements, as well as the medication, which does help untold. Their tonic-clonic seizures have probably decreased, I couldn't say, it's an incredible amount, very few and far between now.
What particular adjustments have you had to make to your lifestyle to accommodate the girls?
I think a lot of it is in preparation, planning, managing our time a lot better. The girls tend to have a trigger of being overstressed, which at night time when their bodies are calming down, their minds are overactive, which tends to bring on a tonic-clonic seizure. So it's managing good rest periods in between hyperactive activities, good diet, just routine, extra bang-on routine.
How many times a day are the girls, or times in a week, are the girls having tonic-clonic seizures?
A tonic-clonic seizure, I probably couldn't put a specific number on it. It depends on quite a few things. They are only 5 at this stage, so they're growing, their hormones are changing, medication levels need to be altered quite often to keep up with their bodies. They also have absence seizures, which I don't doubt happen every day. They're easy to miss, and they do grow into complex partial occasionally also, so we've got more than one type of seizure to watch and medicate for.
So is epilepsy in your family, Cara?
It was quite shocking on a side note, I suppose, because in my family we've dealt with Asperger's and autism, but epilepsy is completely new off the scale for us.
Are the girls controlled on medication, and if they are there any side effects?
They do very well. We currently have them on Epilim, and we work it out on a dose with the body mass, and like we weigh and measure them and sort of account on how many seizures they've had recently to, do we need to make a stronger dose, do we need to keep it on a dose that's per percentage of body weight to medication. They tend to very well control the tonic-clonic seizures. It's not very often we have them. Since medicating, the amount of seizures have decreased intensely.
Do you get any warning that the girls are about to have a seizure?
Sometimes I have warning. The girls are now becoming a lot more aware of their bodies and what happens pre-seizure. One physical sign that I do get is blood noses sometimes. They don't always have a blood nose, but if they get a blood nose and they're looking quite pale and a little bit overly stressed, we lay them down, get them comfortable as such, so if they were to have a seizure they're fine, and if not they can relax and work it out.
The girls are both 5 now. Can you tell us how this has affected their schooling?
I think it generally affects schooling mostly at the start of the term and the end of the term, because you're returning to routine, which can be a little bit more difficult for them, and at the end of term when they're quite worn out. We've had to do things like school trips we've got to organise and make sure that everybody's on the same level. We take, we've got emergency packs throughout the school. Medication, emergency plans have been put in place. We've held assemblies to explain it to students. And when we visit other schools or other places, we generally tell someone who's in charge or about who's available to help what the go is and how to go about an emergency.
And how does the Epilepsy Foundation support you?
Well, they've given me a voice, I think, and that's the biggest thing about this whole thing, is because Being a solo mother to twins with epilepsy was not only shocking on discovery of having it, but to not know where to direct my concerns or to find support was quite rough until I did discover the foundation. And I've got a lot more direction, and I'm now able to help other people who have been in that position I was in and help them through it as well.
For more information or to donate, go online to epilepsyfoundation.org.nz. Henry and Anthony are two extremely talented young gentlemen from Hamilton. A musical duo, they incorporate comedy and theatre into their shows. They tell me all about it. Now, you form a band called The Two Gents, which is growing in popularity in Hamilton. Yeah. Can you tell me what kind of music it is that you do?
We do good music, hopefully. No, we try to be slightly different, but still within kind of popular views, I guess, which is important. Otherwise, you're not going to make it, I guess. To quote Oscar Wilde, be yourself, because everyone else is already taken. So I think that's what we try to do. We try to be ourselves, but also add a hint of everyone else.
Very good. So in other words, you perform covers from other people?
Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of the time that's how we do our gigs. It's hard to do live music in New Zealand and not do just cover gigs all the time. So we've sort of started. Hamilton, yeah. We've sort of started writing music, and we're trying to get it out there, but it's hard to do.
Internet will help, hopefully.
Do you find that that actually benefits artists, up-and-coming artists?
It depends. Like, it depends. We live in Hamilton, so no. In Auckland and Wellington, I think, yeah, it probably, like, there are a lot more outlets and venues that are doing, like, gigs and things that are trying to promote new artists. In Hamilton, we're trying to, like, develop those things, but they're not quite there yet. So I think it depends on a lot of things. We live in, like, the kind of music that you play, because if you play really popular music, like 660 or whatever, then New Zealand Music Month is great. But if you play something that's, like, a little bit different, then maybe not so. It's kind of a difficult thing.
Trying to find that right balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you guys been performing together?
Since high school, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, what we did is, in high school, Henry brought me back into guitar, and we decided to create a set list for if we ever got a gig.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then we didn't for about 2 years.
Yeah.
But then we made a lot of friends, and we made a friend with someone at CBD Bar.
Me, I was working there.
Yeah. Well, no, not at that point.
Yeah, I was.
No, it was Matt Powell.
No, I was working there.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
Wait, what?
Whoever was working there. So that was the beginning.
The first St. Paddy's Day. So I guess that's probably like 5-6 years.
Yeah, 5-6 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what kind of atmosphere do you kind of aim for when you go on stage? I mean, you guys are quite serious characters.
Oh, yeah.
I am professional.
We just stay straight-laced all the time.
I don't think I've ever said a joke in my life.
No mucking around whatsoever.
I won't enter a venue that's not serious.
No humour.
No
humour for
So
us.
imagine there's a lot of banter on stage between you two, a lot of interaction.
Sometimes we make each other do things that we don't want to do.
Yeah, we kind of we kind of start off in the background while we're playing, but I suppose if you think about it, we're just two kids yelling at the top of our voices saying, "Hey, look at us, look at us."
And eventually people look, and then it's awesome.
Yeah. But when they look, I mean, I feel like we earned it. And people haven't said negative things. Yeah. So that's, I say, is a positive.
Definitely. Where would you like to take your music in the future?
Hopefully China's available for us to go
I mean,
there.
yeah, Shanghai would be great. Beijing.
No, anywhere that'll have us, really, I guess.
Xinjiang province.
Yeah, China's welcome to us.
We're not really sure. Like, we want to make music, write music, get it out there. I don't know.
We want to make the dollars, as it were.
Yep.
And we'll kind of just see how it goes.
Start off in New Zealand. If we get recognition in New Zealand, I think that's a great start. And if we just stay there, then that's cool as well.
So one day at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't live life thinking about the future too much.
No, that's absolutely right. Thank you very much. If you stay with us after the break, we will have the two gents performing live for us here in studio.
In the noon, I've had a drink or 9. Maybe you should too, 'cause this buzz is no good alone, and this bus is heading home, and I've seen the end of this road. Let's enjoy the unknown. It's the night, it's the night been waiting for your whole life.
Yeah, thought about you today. Girl, this is the way. Tonight we'll play and relate and sing, making love like a couple blue jays. And I can see inside the heads that you were dreading when tomorrow comes and brings on the gray. It's a lion's mouth and ripping out the doubt, put our hearts in a figurative delay. All the movies show you love and sex and fun, and wrecks the one time you believe. Night, we don't need our radio, 'cause we generate a flow, it'll bring us to our knees, don't deceive. Sparkling on silver in the pale moonlight, and I'm gonna flick a sliver of the river, I'll deliver it, and hitherto wonder if the future's bright. But put it behind you, love, it comes to find you. Tonight's the night you've been waiting for your whole life.
Thank you, Henry and Anthony. You guys were definitely born to be performers. I can't wait to see more of your stuff. If you like it as well, make sure you search Two Gents on Facebook. In our last story, the Pet Pose Pet Photography Workshop is coming up in Hamilton next month. Rachel chatted to the owners to find out about their business.
Well, I moved to Hamilton in about August of 2013, and I'd come down from Auckland where I was doing a lot of diving. When I moved to Hamilton, being inland, I picked up another hobby of mine, which is pet photography. And I'd done a little bit of a search to see who else might be doing that sort of photography in the area, and I came across Kelly. So I got a hold of Kelly and I said, hey, I'm really interested in doing the same thing. Do you want to catch up? Let's go for a wander. So we went and did that, and we got on really well. So one night I was up quite late editing a session, and I saw Kelly was online. We started having a little bit of a chat, and I was having a couple of wines, and I got all excited and I said to her, let's do a workshop. And so it kind of went from there. So we started planning this workshop, the sorts of topics that we'd like to cover, the questions that we've been asked through people contacting us saying, how do I do this? How do I set this up? What sort of equipment do I use? And when it came to lighting, there was only one person that the two of us thought of, and that was Carol. So we got in touch with Carol and said, we've got this idea. And Carol was like, yay, let's do it. And so it sort of went from there. We got together as a group, started planning over coffee sessions, talking about the sorts of things that we were getting asked the most questions about, and we devised a bit of a plan for a one-day workshop. So that's really how it started. Late night editing, glass of wine, posse workshop.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your background, Tara?
Well, I've been holding a camera, running around with a camera for 20-something years. When I first started taking photographs, it was on film, so things were really different back then, and I didn't really do a lot with those photographs. I still have them, they sit in a wardrobe somewhere. When I learned to dive back in 2006, I took a camera underwater, and that's when I really felt the love for the underwater world, because I could see it, go back over it, show people, share it, and photography for me really kicked off with a hiss and a bang from there. And it's probably quite accurate to say that I carry a camera most days. In fact, when you guys arrived today, we were lying under a tree taking photographs. So yeah, I've been photographing for quite some time now.
Now, obviously you are an avid animal lover. Can you tell me, what is your favourite type of animal of all time to get out there and take pictures of?
Underwater or above?
We'll go one for each.
Okay, one for each. Underwater, I love taking photographs of nudibranchs. They're about this big, they're colourful sea slugs. They come in all ranges and sizes. They don't move very quickly, and they're beautiful. They're absolutely stunning, so I recommend you look that up. On the earth, goodness me, if I was at Hamilton Zoo, it'd be the red panda. I just absolutely love their cheeky faces. And unfortunately, no one has one as a pet, so they're not about to hire me anytime soon to do a session. Most of the animals that I photograph, 90%, 95%, are dogs. They've got personalities that people want to capture and they want to put on the wall, but then there are also cats. It'd be a 50-50 between the two of them, but they're so much fun to do a session with because they just won't do what you ask them. Dogs, on the other hand, big, goofy grins, lots of drool, speed, but also just beautiful, gentle natures all at the same time. So you can't make me pick.
The Pet Pose Pet Photography Workshop will be a one-day workshop focusing on the creative process of dog portraits. Register at thepetpose.com. Thank you for watching Central News tonight. We do post everything online on our website, tvcentral.co.nz. And we still would like to keep in touch with our viewers on Facebook. Otherwise, you can email us at news@tvcentral.co.nz with any feedback. I will be back on screens again tomorrow night. We've only got a few more days of broadcast left. Let's make it a good one. My name is Amanda Harper, and you are watching Central News on TV Central. Have a good night. Pō Marie.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.